All right, welcome anybody and everybody to my NBA playoffs update. I wanted to talk about what's happened in the first round so far, what I'm looking forward to in the second round, and I want to start by just kind of going matchup by matchup through the first round and recapping what happened. First off, I want to say that I'm doing very well with my predictions in the West. In the West, I predicted that the Nuggets would win 4-2. They won their series 4-2. I predicted the Suns would win 4-1 over the Clippers. They won 4-1 over the Clippers. I predicted that the Lakers would win 4-2 over the Grizzlies. They did. And man, was that last game embarrassing for the Grizzlies. We still don't know what's going to happen in Warriors and Kings. I predicted Warriors winning that series 4-3. That's still in play. So we'll see if I get the perfect West side of the bracket. The East side, I wasn't so great at. Let's start with this. I predicted that Milwaukee would win their series 4-1. And that one flipped. Miami won that series 4-1. And it's shocking. I don't know what to say about it other than Jimmy Butler just once again being one of the best players in the world. And then Giannis and Drew not being able to hit a shot outside of 16 feet. Giannis literally didn't hit a shot outside of 16 feet. Drew barely did, and it's really hard for NBA teams to score enough when your two of your best players can't shoot from range. But really, it's just all about Miami and their execution and Jimmy hitting big shots. Cleveland Cavaliers and New York Knicks, I predicted that the Cavaliers would win 4-2, and that did not happen. The Knicks won handily. They won 4-1. I think the lesson there is the Cavs have two really good defensive big men, and that is awesome for the regular season. Really hurts when you've got multiple guys on the court who just aren't much of an offensive threat, and the Knicks had a better defensive plan and just out-executed them. And Jalen Brunson is just so much better than I ever give him credit for. So the Knicks, good job for them advancing to the next round. And both Miami and New York have to be excited that the other one advanced, because I would think that either one would be happier to play the team they are playing than the team they could have been playing. We'll talk about that shortly, though. I had the Sixers beating the Nets 4-0. That did happen. The Nets, bless them, they're scrappy. They just didn't have enough to really compete in the playoffs. Joel Embiid having knee problems, though, is a big development, and would have been nice if the Celtics could have ended their series a little quicker so they could rush into that series with Philadelphia. But as it is, it looks like Joel Embiid might not be ready for Game 1. If he's out, the Celtics need to win games when Joel Embiid is out. I think they can win the series with Joel Embiid in, but you need to win it when he's out. Lastly, I had the Celtics winning 4-1 over the Hawks. They won 4-2, which was my original prediction. And then I felt like, nah, Jeremy, have a little more confidence in the Celtics. I should have gone with my original thought and written 4-2. But the Celtics advance. That's all that matters. Survive and advance. Do I think the Hawks were great? No, I think they were playing great, though. I think what the playoffs is really teaching us is that offense is just more important than defense in the NBA. Because you can play amazing defense in the NBA, and if the offensive player is just clicking, they're just in a zone, nothing you can do about it. And Trae Young for a couple games was really good. He was really clicking on offense. And Boston has some of the best defenders in the league. But when you got a little quick, jittery guy who gets to his spaces and does a great job of, if you get near him and play physical, he'll turn it into a foul. It's really hard to stop. And then his lobs are great. That's really what makes Trae great. People think of long-range shooting, but it's the fact that he can get to about the free throw line and hit a runner or throw a lob. And if you get too close to contest the runner, it becomes a lob. If you lay back to take away the lob, he hits the runner. It's a great move that he has, but ultimately it wasn't enough, and he can't defend anybody, and I think the Hawks do have some tough questions going forward. Do they really want their best two players to be their two guards, who both are best with the ball in their hands? So let's look forward to round 2. Obviously, there's one matchup we can't really talk about. That's Lakers and whoever they play, Warriors or Kings. So I'm just going to say loosely here that I'll predict whoever wins between Warriors and Kings will go on to beat the Lakers. As awesome as the Lakers have looked, and AD is looking like maybe the best player in the NBA, it's still hard to bank on the Lakers staying healthy, LeBron not wearing down in a series that will play about every other day. And I just think the speed of the Warriors or the Kings, either one of them, they both play so much faster with so much more pace than the Grizzlies. I think it's going to give the Lakers a hard time. It might take them a game or two to figure out how to wear down the Lakers, and that's why I predict that either team will win 4-2. So I guess I can talk about that series. The Nuggets and the Suns. This is the most interesting series to me because I have the least idea of what's going to happen in this series. I think that the Nuggets actually have a better chance than probably most people think. Most people love the Suns because of the names, the star power, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. Hey, that's an awesome lineup. I am fascinated to see if Ayton can actually hold Joker somewhat in check because I think Jokic is going to have a dominant series, obviously. I think he's going to have to be just overwhelmingly physical and powerful and make it so that the Suns have to double team him, and then he can just start spraying the ball around and make it easier on the rest of his teammates. But there's also just this. I think the Suns, as awesome as those four guys are, none of them are dirty work players. None of them are really the guys who are going to scrap, dive, do that sort of stuff. I think they're competitive. I do. But there's just a difference between when you're the guy versus when you're the guy who has to be the competitive, dirty work guy. You just play differently. And Denver, I think, has some of those dirty work guys. I think KCP is one of those guys. I think Bruce Brown is one of those guys. And then they've got guys like Murray and Michael Porter Jr. who can get hot and really fill it up. So I actually think the cohesion that the Nuggets have, I think they could have the best player on the floor in any given game. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to pick the Nuggets to win. And I think that the best chance they have to win is not for the series to drag out too long and let the Suns continue to figure out how to click together. So I'm going to go 4-2 for the Nuggets. So I got 4-2 for Warriors or Kings over Lakers. I got 4-2 for Nuggets over Suns. Let's go over to the East. In the East, we have Miami versus New York. Man, I can't believe that either Miami or New York is going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's what has to happen. One of these two teams has to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I should trust New York probably more, but I just don't. I would expect Jimmy Butler to continue to be, he's been the best player in the playoffs so far, to continue to be the best player in this series, and I trust Spo, and, I think it's a better matchup for Bam to have a good series. Bam Adebayo did not have a good series against the Bucks. The Miami Heat won in spite of that. I think Bam should have a much better series against the Knicks. I'm picking Miami. But I do think it's going to be a grinded out series. So I'm going to pick that one to go 7. I'm going to pick Miami to win 4-3 over the Knicks. And I hope it's a really close and exciting series. Good for both these teams advancing and getting to have an exciting series against each other. And lastly, we come to my beloved Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. So much of this series is going to depend on the health of Joel Embiid. I understand that. But to be honest, I think even if Embiid is fully healthy, I still like the Celtics. I think the Celtics just match up well with the Sixers. I think the sort of physical style that you have to play on defense is what they are best at. The Sixers do not play with incredible pace, which I think is what gives the Celtics the most trouble on defense. And then I don't think the Sixers match up well with the Celtics. They don't have great defensive options for Tatum and Brown. And so I'm going to go with the Celtics. I'm going to say that the Celtics win it. I'm going to say they win it 4-1, and I'm going to make that prediction based off the fact I don't think Embiid's going to be ready to start the series, and if the Celtics get a lead in the series, I think it's just going to be hard mentally and emotionally, even if Embiid comes back, for them to compete in the series. So maybe I'm giving the Celtics too much credit. If the Sixers win a few more, I won't be surprised. But I'm picking the Celtics to look better in this series than they did in the last series and win 4-1. All right, well, that's my predictions. We'll revisit after this round, see how I did. Hopefully I continue to do well in the West, and this time I do a little better with my predictions in the East. Although, so far, I've gotten, what have I gotten? 5 out of the 7 series that have wrapped up, and I could have 6 out of the 8 if the Warriors win. So, it's not so bad. All right, well, thank you for listening to me ramble and rant about the playoffs, and let me know what you think about what you've seen so far.